What's good, everybody? First off, I just want to wish everybody a happy new year. It's 2012, and I hope everybody had a great new year. I know I did, and I'm back with my first video of the year. And I want to talk about, I'm quite sure everybody in the world by now has heard about Beyonce giving birth to her first baby, her newborn named Blue Ivy. I would like to discuss that. I would like to discuss the circumstances surrounding her childbirth, and some things that have really concerned me about the way that Beyonce gave birth to this baby, Blue Ivy. Okay. And I know I've been very critical on Beyonce in the past, and I've gotten a lot of heat for it. You know, a lot of people have sent me some very negative comments, and I accept that. I expected it when I made the videos, but the truth needs to be told. And the truth of the matter is, Beyonce is a diva that has an attitude and a mentality that is out of this world, and it doesn't make sense. And it's made evident even more by how she had this baby. And some things that really concern me about how Beyonce had this baby, and the things that I want to go over is, first of all, this child's name. Blue Ivy. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the circumstances surrounding the delivery and the childbirth process and the hospital. And Beyonce basically buying a floor of the hospital to have her baby. And, the treatment of other people in the hospital. And also I want to talk about the paternity of this child. Because a paternity test has not been done, and when you're dealing with someone like Beyonce, it has to be a level of concern there, and we can't just take her word that Jay-Z is this child's father. So those are some concerns that I have, and I want to talk about it. I'm not going to take a lot of time, but I just want to discuss it. Okay, first of all, I want to talk about this child's name, Blue Ivy. You know what I'm saying? Blue Ivy. And I understand they're saying that the significance of Ivy, I don't know where blue comes from, but they're saying the significance of Ivy is how it represents the number four. The IV represents four in Roman numerals. That's fine and good, but I don't know if I was well, I am a person, but how am I trying to say this? If I had to choose my name, I would not want to choose Blue. I wouldn't want to walk around all my life being called Blue. Doesn't Blue represent being sad and down and depressed and, shit like that? So I don't understand why she would name her child Blue. And then when you hear Ivy, I just tend to think of Poison Ivy. So, I mean, but anyway, the name is really not that big of an issue. Where I get upset at is the fact that Beyonce put her child above everybody else and acted as if her child is more important than every other baby that was in the hospital. Now, reports have been circulated on the internet and throughout the media that Beyonce reportedly paid $1.3 million to rent the entire floor of the Lenox Hill Hospital in New York City. That's where she had her baby. And some things went down that I really don't think was appropriate, and I think it was very selfish of her. I know you want your privacy, and I know you love your child and everything, and you want to protect the privacy of your newborn baby, but what about other people? What about the other people that's in the hospital having their children? The reports are that she paid the money to rent the hospital floor, the floor of the hospital, that she blacked out the security cameras, that the security cameras couldn't even record surveillance. So, that right there jeopardizes people's safety. I understand that employees of the hospital had to turn in their cell phones, not turn them off, but turn in their cell phones upon coming to work. Now, what if you go to work and your boss is like, okay, you got to give me your cell phone? Okay, I'm be like, bitch, you ain't getting shit. Okay, and if I gotta lose my job, I just gotta lose my job. But I think that's an invasion of privacy. It's very intrusive to make these employees turn in their cell phones. What if they have an emergency? What if one of their family members tries to contact them and they can't get a hold of them because Beyonce is having a baby and she's not allowing anybody to have possession of their cell phones? That's a bunch of bullshit, and she needs to stop it. Okay, and there was a report by a gentleman who said that his child was also in the NICU unit premature baby born, and he wanted to see his baby, but he was repeatedly turned away by Beyonce's bouncers and her bodyguards, denying him access to see his child. Like, what is up with that? You are not the only person Beyonce having a baby. So why is it that you're putting your child on a pedestal that is so far up above everyone else that it makes it feel like they are beneath you and that their children is not as good as your child? I don't think that's fair. And furthermore, I have two substantial points to make. Point number one: if you're going to pay, now the reported sum of the money was $1.3 million. That's the reported price that she paid for the rental of that entire hospital floor. Now my thing is, all the money you have, Miss B, if you can pay $1.3 million to rent a goddamn hospital floor, why couldn't you take that money and have the baby in the privacy of your home? You got the money that you can fly the doctors out to your residence, the nurses, all of the equipment, anything you need to ensure a successful and a safe delivery. You could have had that right in the privacy of your own home, since you're so much worried about your privacy and the privacy of your baby. So I don't understand what's the purpose of you inconveniencing everybody else by kicking people off the hospital floor just so you can have your baby. Okay, that's the first point I want to make. It just doesn't make sense to me. First of all, it's a waste of money, and it's very inconveniencing to other people. Have some respect for other people. Have some consideration for other people, Beyonce. It's not all about you. The world does not revolve around you, despite what you may think. Okay, sweetie? Thank you. My second point is, if Jesus Christ, the Son of God, can be born in a manger, out in a barn somewhere, what makes you think you gotta be kicking people out of the hospital to have your baby? What, you saying your baby better than Jesus? Is that what you trying to say, Beyonce? Your baby is better than Jesus? That you gotta be going through all of that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, get over yourself, woman. Your baby is not all that. Okay? And that really made me lose a lot more respect for you, to know that you don't have the consideration for other parents and their kids. And I'm quite sure, everybody don't have it like you, but they can have bodyguards and do what you are able to do for your child, but have some consideration for other people. You know what I'm saying? And I just, thought that people should be made aware of, the diva mentality that this woman has. And the third point I want to make is about the paternity of this child's father. Now, okay, the whole premise of her renting the hospital floor and kicking people off the hospital floor is to maintain her privacy and to make sure that the paparazzi didn't have access to the hospital floor. But what I am hearing, these are reports that are coming in, and you cannot always outsmart the paparazzi. There are some very smart people. They are some very tricky people. They would do what they have to do to get a story, and it's their job. And I understand that a member of the paparazzi did make it onto the floor. However, they did not have a camera to take pictures. But they are saying that they did see the child, and that this baby looks nothing like Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, aka Jigga. Okay? They're saying this baby looks nothing like him, which would beg the question now, is this really Jay-Z's child? Is this really this man's child? And I would not put anything past Beyonce. She's conniving, she's manipulative, she lies, and she ain't right. And I believe that she would do anything she can to get more publicity on herself. And the fact that, she's having this baby, which will even bring more publicity and put more of the spotlight on her, she will lie and say it's her husband's child, knowing that it's not. So I really do not believe that Jay-Z is the father of this child. And I would strongly recommend that Jay-Z have a paternity test as soon as possible to establish the paternity of this child. Because when you're dealing with someone as conniving and manipulative as Beyonce, you never know. So and I don't trust, certain women, and I know I can't just take the word of a woman saying this is your baby. I gotta have some DNA proof that it's my baby. But Beyonce, I think it was a very immature way that you gave birth to your first child, and I think you owe the people in that hospital an apology, and I think you owe them some type of compensation for the inconvenience that they had to endure because of you having your child. Like I said, if Jesus can be born in a manger and he the savior of the world, you mean to tell me your child better than Jesus, that you couldn't have just had your baby in a regular hospital room and just had security outside? Or you couldn't have just had your baby at home? Get a midwife if it's that serious. But anyway, I done enough talking. I just wanted to, bring that to light. The name of the child, Miss Blue Ivy. And I started to call her Blue Rain because I'm thinking about the woman from All Precious. But the woman that Paula Patton played, Blue Rain. But that awkward name, and then the circumstance regarding this child's delivery and the paternity of this child's father. So everybody keep that in mind before you start sending out best wishes and all that bullshit. Just remember how this child got here. And I'm not blaming the child. I know it's not the child's fault that she has a diva mother who thinks she's God. But I just want to let the people know before they are further brainwashed. But anyway, once again, Happy New Year to everybody. I wish you the best in 2012. I'll be back soon. Peace out.